Good evening, and welcome to Focus. As you may know, Lorain City Schools is sponsoring a televised auction this Friday, the 14th, starting at 5 p.m. The money from the auction goes to the endowment fund. Now, before we talk about the auction, which is what we want to do tonight, to explain a little bit about what's been going on and some of the preparations, I have with me Bill Kozusko, who's Director of Vocational, Career, and Adult Education. Bill is also one of the chair people working on the auction and can give us some idea of what the endowment is really all about. Hi, Bill.
Hi, Wendy.
It's nice to see you tonight.
It's good to be here.
I have a suspicion not too many people know about the endowment fund and what it's all about, let alone the auction. So can you kind of fill us in on what is the endowment?
Well, Wendy, any endowment fund is a collection of tax-exempt donations that are put into a capital fund. The capital that is collected in tax-donated contributions is never spent. The capital earns interest, and then the receiver of the endowment fund, or the holder of the endowment fund, in this case Lorain City Schools, then uses the interest from the endowment fund for enrichment activities. Normally they are used to fund things that the general fund cannot possibly participate in.
Now, has the endowment fund for Lorain City Schools been in existence a long time?
It's been in existence for about 2.5 years. Right now, the capital that we've raised in the endowment fund totals about $86,000. That has come in through 2 large contributions of $25,000 each. The rest of the money has come in through a lot of payroll deductions on the part of our employees. Our employees have been very good and very generous about donating amounts of money towards the endowment fund. So it has built up now a capital of about $86,000. And of course this earns interest. And it's the interest that will be used, never the capital.
Now, the whole idea of the auction, and before we get into detail, obvious is to make money for the endowment.
Yes.
How did you come up with the idea of the auction? Where did it spring from?
I got it from you.
Oh, okay.
Now, I think a number of people have been wrestling with the concern over the last couple of years as to how we could raise money for the endowment fund in greater amounts than what we've been raising. And I think that you and I and a couple other people sat down one day and we looked at a number of possibilities. And one of the ones that we narrowed it down to was to hold an auction. Now, I think we had a couple of objectives in mind. Number one, of course, would be to raise money for the endowment fund. The second objective would be to do something that would have wide community exposure, where citizens in the community could learn more about the endowment fund, and at the same time, citizens in the community could help support the endowment fund by buying items through the auction. That way we could begin to say that donations are coming into from the community for the endowment fund, and it's not just our own employees that are supporting the endowment fund.
And why a televised auction?
Well, I think a televised auction for a couple of reasons. Number one, I don't think that all of the citizens in Lorain who either subscribe to cable TV or not, do not subscribe to cable TV, many do not know that we have a very fine television studio within our own school district. So this is a way of showcasing our television studio. It's a way of showing the public that we are making some strides in new technology areas in the school district. Also, I think another reason for doing it over television is so that people can watch an auction from the comfort of their own home. And I believe that we know that there are 11,000 cable subscribers in Lorain.
So you're reaching a potential audience
So
that's
we're
much
reaching
greater
a potential audience of 11,000, whereas if we held it at a site like a school auditorium or gymnasium, we couldn't count on 11,000 people coming. And they can watch it from the comfort of the home, pick up the phone and bid on selected items, and they can participate in the bidding process throughout the whole evening.
Now, what is involved in this auction? Can you tell me about it? What kinds of items? I'm sure there's an awful lot of planning that's been going on, and obviously this program tonight is part of the planning.
Do you want to talk about the mechanics of the auction or the items that are going to be sold?
Why don't we start with the mechanics of the auction? For instance, I know nothing about Lorain City Schools. I know nothing about the auction. Tell me about it.
Well, the auction originally was designed to try to auction off services and crafts. Now, the services and the crafts could be from our student body, because we felt that we had a lot of students in our school district that were very crafty, very art-oriented, very service-oriented, and that they could come up with some good ideas that would be auctioned off. For example, an industrial arts woodworking shop makes very, very fine furniture.
Right.
So a student could craft a nice piece of furniture that we could put into the auction. That way, the people watching television not only see a nice piece of furniture that they can buy, but they can also see the end result of Lorain City Schools education. Secondly, we have a lot of teachers that have a lot of skills and crafts that they do. Some of them do them as a second business outside of teaching, and we want an opportunity to showcase some of that. Well, this whole thing exploded from there because many of the businesses and industries in the community that support the school district, many of them are our suppliers and vendors that we buy from frequently. Others are just willing participants in many of Lorain's different programs, such as the Adopt a School program. I think all of the businesses participating in the Adopt a School program have donated something to this auction. Some have been a cash contribution that we've used for advertising purposes. Others have actually given us merchandise that we can put into the auction. So the whole idea was to sell services and crafts, and it's now expanded to articles and merchandise that has been donated by business and industry also. Some of the other mechanics involved with it are just the myriad of detail work in identifying people to work for the auction.
How did you go about that? I mean, what kind of structure in doing an auction?
Okay.
WVIZ, Channel 25, I realize helped a lot, but on the school level, I'm sure lots of staff were involved.
I think the one thing that we knew that we needed to do was to get as much involvement at the school level, the grassroots level. So you and I and Bob Quinlan, the co-chairs, decided to go to each school and ask each school to set up a steering committee within their own school of either parents, students, teachers, whomever within that school wanted to work on an auction. And each school did that. Now, from those school committees, each school then sent one representative to an overall citywide steering committee that you and I and Mr. Quinlan co-chaired. And it was through meeting in the steering committees and sharing ideas and learning, one school would stand up and say that they had this and that for the auction, and that gave a different school another idea. And the next thing that we realized that we needed to do was to get involvement on the part of many of our unions that work in the school district. So we contacted them and asked them for their assistance, and every union came forward and volunteered manpower to participate in this. For example, the Secretary Association has donated 22 people have volunteered to work the night of the auction. manning
Great.
the phones.
So it's sort of spread throughout the whole district.
So it's spread throughout the whole district once we got started at the building level.
Now, it's also involved the PTAs and some of the parents.
At the school level, many of the schools, besides having students and teachers sit on their auction committee, also elicited the help of their local PTA and PTO, and they were very instrumental in helping out.
So it's kind of getting bigger and bigger,
Yes.
even as we talk.
Lots of people have been involved in this.
Before we get into specifics about the items, I think we have an opportunity here to look at some of the buildings and some of the things they've done. At this point, we'd really like to take a look at three particular buildings. The first one is Homewood School. Larry, your building has been really active in preparing for the auction. I see you've got some things here that your building has been responsible for. Can you fill us in on what your building, some of your staff have done?
Well, yes. Wendy, as usual, the Homewood staff has gotten behind the programs in Lorain City School, and the endowment fund is no exception. The staff, in general, donated money, and we ended up with a nice sum, and we went out to the Ramada Inn, Aquamarine, and purchased a getaway weekend for two, which is one of the nicer things that we're giving away here at Homewood School, or we're auctioning off.
Oh, sounds great.
Yeah, it's 2 nights. It's Friday and Saturday night, and it's for 2 people, of course, and it contains dinner on Friday night, breakfast on Saturday, dinner again on Saturday night, and breakfast on Sunday. And a complimentary bottle of champagne is also thrown in.
Oh,
So that's
super.
I think, a very nice biddable item. The PTA was very generous here at Homewood School. They donated a brand new Sharp VCR that will be auctioned off, and I thought that was just an outstanding donation on their part, and we appreciate their help.
Now, I understand you had a couple of staff members who really, on their own, went out of their way.
Right. Well,
Different things.
besides, of course, our person in charge here, that was Elaine Campbell, who did a lot of work for us. We did have one staff member in particular who did a yeoman share of work in making items, and some of these items that I have are in front of us right here. This person wished to remain anonymous, and we're going to comply with her wishes. But as you can see, all these items are homemade, and there are 2 wreaths similar to this one for doors. And she has made several baby items. There's rattles and hand-crocheted balls and tissue dispensers and a little cap and sweater. All these items will be biddable. Another centerpiece that she made
That's beautiful.
was the basket of rolls. They almost look good enough to eat, but they are preserved with a shellac and will last for a long, long time. So it's another nice item.
You've got something down here, I see.
Yes, she some more hand crocheted items. The Easter basket centerpiece with the chicks and eggs. This is very pretty, especially around the Easter time. There were many items that this person donated. There was a painting, a hand-made ceramic wall mirror is another item, and really a low estimate would be that she donated well over $90 worth of items herself, all of them being handmade and hand-done.
Why was she so enthused about this?
Well, I think one thing is that she just likes to do things with her hands. She's very crafty, apparently, by looking at some of the things, and she enjoys this type of hobby. The other main reason, apparently, is that she supports the endowment fund and is interested in seeing the programs that benefit the children from the endowment fund.
Thank you, Larry. I appreciate it. The next place we'd like to visit is Lincoln School to talk to Dr. Fleming Mosley. Mosley, as part of the auction that's coming up this weekend, I understand you're going to offer boxing lessons to children. Could you explain a little bit to me about what you're going to offer?
Okay, we'll be offering boxing lessons in terms of fundamentals to young boys aged 12 to 18. We're going to charge a $10 wait a minute, it wasn't 10, that was $25. I have to have a minimum of 5 boys and a maximum of 10 boys participating. The things that the boys will be needing are like sweat outfits, and that's about all. Other things I will supply.
I understand you have quite a background in boxing yourself. Can you tell me a little bit about this?
Well, I've been boxing since I was around 12 years old, and since that time, I guess around 17 years old, I won my first championship, which was Pittsburgh Golden Gloves, and then again I won Pittsburgh Golden Gloves when I was in college. In college, I went to the service, came back, won Lorain Golden Gloves, Cleveland Golden Gloves, and also Toledo Golden Gloves.
Now, I understand you boxed with Joe Frazier.
Yeah, that was in the Olympic trials in Washington, D.C.
Sounds really exciting. I see that you have a scrapbook and some pictures. Want to tell us what's in these?
Well, I have to look. It's
been a long time, right?
Right. Whoa, and there it goes.
I can tell this is old. It's falling apart.
This is old and it's falling apart. And this is my first fight in Lorain for the championship, and that's when I won. It was a knockout. And of course, my fights and.
Does this come in handy when you're at school?
No, not really, because I rarely look at it, and you can tell by the way it is. A lot of other people want to look at it and see things about it, and that's just about what I use it for. I really don't even use it. I just kept it on.
But does the boxing come in handy in school?
No, I don't even use that. No, this book has a strange flight. I used to keep it as a scrapbook, and years ago it was missing from my home. And one day in the mail was that book in a package, and the return address was from Detroit. So
you lost it in Detroit?
No, it was lost in Lorain. It just came
Somebody
back by
took
way of Detroit, I guess.
So now, do you still box for enjoyment?
I just train for enjoyment. I don't box for enjoyment.
Okay.
No, boxing would be rather a little tough right now. I really have to get in shape, just like the way I stress that young boys, if they really want to box, they should be in shape.
Okay, great. Sounds really interesting. I hope to see some of the classes going on.
Okay.
Thank you, Dr. Mosley.
Thank you.
Here at Lincoln School, there's also a couple of other people who've been very active for the auction, and we're going to talk to them. Bush, I understand you've been very active getting donations and so forth from businesses for the auction. Can you tell me a little bit about that?
Mary Sanchez and I went out to different places, merchants, and got merchandise. We went to Johnson's Furniture Store. We went to Pizza. We went to Best Tool Supplies and got some tools. We went to Scandinavian and got some certificates.
I understand. I remember
and
that.
passes to go to exercise. And we was never turned down. Every place that we went, we weren't turned down. We have about $100 worth of certificates for the fathers, and we have about $70 certificates for Mother's Night Out.
I've heard about, tell me a little bit about that box.
That consists of haircuts, dinners out, different restaurants that we went to gave us, down here on Pearl Deli, they gave us certificates for lunch, and they gave us certificates for haircuts at the different beauty salons. And also in the father's box, there is certificates for haircuts, and there is different things that they can go to for the men for the father's night out.
Oh, sounds interesting.
And the banks gave us glasses for the women, and they gave us baking dishes, and we've had some Tupperware donated and some trays donated, and we've had donuts from Mr. Donuts, $50 worth of donuts from Mr. Donuts, Bob's Donut Shop, Zellex Florist, Jan Terry Florist, have donated for flowers for the women.
Sounds like something I'd like to bid for. That
Yes.
sounds good. Why did you get so involved?
Because I've been involved with the school now going on 2 years. And I'm involved with Chapter 1, and I love it. And I worked with the little children, preschools, in Elyria, Head Start, and I had a teacher that I was under, a Catholic nun, I'll never forget her, Sister St. Jane, and she told me there was no such word as you could not do anything. And so I've never said, no, I couldn't do it.
Sounds like good advice. Thank you very much, Mrs. Bush. Next place we'd like to visit is Larkmore School. Hello. We've moved over to Larkmore School, and sitting with me is Barbara Matalski, a teacher at the school. I understand that you've had phenomenal success getting your people involved in the auction. Can you tell me a little bit about that?
When I volunteered to serve on the Endowment Fund Auction Committee, I really didn't know how much work it was going to be, but it's been a lot of fun and really exciting. And the staff here is super, as all the staffs in all the schools in Lorain are. The principal was very supportive, the PTA was wonderful, and we just came together and shot ideas out and said, we will do this, and we will do this, and we will do this, and we did it. And we will have a bake sale on March the 21st, sponsored by the PTA and the staff, which is open to the public if you want to stop in and buy some good cake or cookies. But whatever we make from that, which we have no idea and it's not biddable, will be turned over to the Endowment Fund Auction.
What other kinds of things did your building turn out?
Well, we made some mystery boxes, and we really don't want people to know what's in them. We've given them an assessed value, and we hope that they will take a chance on something unknown. We had some crafts made by a lot of the building people. We have some nice wreaths for the door. We contacted a few businesses. Our adopted school business gave us 5 beautiful things.
Oh, great.
Barnhart's Gifts, a couple of Hummel things, and I think you'll just have to wait and see those.
Now, you had 100% participation?
Yes, we had 100% participation. Everybody did something. A lot of people did a whole lot, but everybody did something, and that's what a building is for everybody to help.
Now, obviously, you have something special here you want to talk about.
Yes.
You're offering something a little bit special.
Many people around this area and also around the country spend a lot of time clipping out coupons from the paper, and 4 or 5 years ago I got really into that. During the winter it seemed so cold to go out in the car, and so I began to cut a lot of coupons, and then at that same time a lot of the stores began to double those. And you looked at how much you could save, and so it became a really money-making hobby. Most hobbies cost you money. This one saves me money. And so when I go to the store, I go with a check file box of cents off, which are what you call the coupons you cut out of the paper. And then there are the ones like I'm wearing on my hat, which you can send in something to the company.
Right.
And they will send you back the full price of whatever you paid, or they will give you a premium like a doll or I have a 30-cup coffee pot that I got last year. Many things. You can also then send for their coupons, which are free. Actually, they're not free. You bought 2, but the third one then becomes free.
Right, so you save money.
And so you save money, and when you go to the grocery store, a lot of people don't like to be in line behind me because I usually have a nice stack. But I do really enjoy the challenge, and it makes grocery fun shopping. And so we decided that we would put together a refunding and couponing class for people who don't know much about it, or people who do know a lot about it. We can always learn also. Teachers don't know everything. And offer it at the high school on April the 15th and 22nd, 2 2-hour courses. We didn't make this something they could bid on an amount. We just said it will be $5, which is like $1.25 an hour, people, which isn't much. And we will share with you as much as we know, give you a chance to answer questions. We'll have refund forms for you. We will have cents off for you, and we'll just hopefully have a good time and maybe make you like grocery shopping a little bit better.
And make money for the
And make money for the endowment fund, yes.
Great. Thanks, Barbara. I really
You're
appreciate
welcome.
it. Right now, we'd like to go back to the studio through the magic of television. That gives you some idea of the work that's gone on in all of our school buildings. But there's many more items that weren't mentioned from those 3 buildings. Bill, can you give us some idea? So you have a lengthy list in your lap. What kinds of items can people who are tuning into the auction look for?
The list, Wendy, is growing, and it's close to 200 as we sit here this evening. There are many items that people can bid on. Some of the more popular ones that I'll mention first. For example, we have a 19-inch RCA color television set. Fortunately, this was donated to us by Channel 43, and I want to give them credit for that, but it will be up for auction. We also have 2 Sharp VHS video cassette recorders, and we estimate that these have a value of $260 to $300 each. And you know as well as I do how popular VCRs are these days.
Maybe we should tell people that we don't have any inside track to bidding.
No, we don't have any inside track to bidding. Our industrial arts classes, 2 of them, one at Irving and one at Hawthorne, are building these outdoor sheds that people use to store their lawn mowers and their snow blowers and things like that. These are both 8 by 10. The one at Hawthorne breaks down into 2 sections, a top and a bottom, and the one at Irving is broken down into quarters, so it's easily hauled away. Now, in both of these wood sheds, which is made with the finest grade of lumber that we can get, there's $400 worth of materials in each of these. Now, I do believe that somebody who wanted an 8 by 10 storage shed and went out in the community and bought one somewhere would spend anywhere from $900 to $1,200 depending on the quality
these are a
they
real
want.
bargain.
So these are really bargains. And of course the people that buy those 2 sheds are going to have to find some way of having them transported from either Hawthorne or Irving to their backyard. But I do have some knowledge that transport companies right in Lorain will do that for about $50.
So it's either way you look at it, it's a good.
Any way you look at it, it's a darn good deal. We have a couple of good deals that the business community ought to pay attention to because they might be interested in buying these and bidding on them themselves. For example, Blue Cross Blue Shield donated to us a Coliseum Loge. Seats 10 people, and it's for a force soccer game, and it has a value of $370. It would be an ideal thing to bid on if a business wanted to entertain 8, 9, or 10 people.
Right. Or 10 buddies who want to get together.
Or 10 buddies who wanted to get together and go to a force game. It'd be a nice way to go. In addition to that, we have a lunch for a group of 20 to 25 people at the Nordson Train Depot. Now, of course, any group of 20, 25 people can go to the train depot if they win this bid and make use of it. We estimate that there's a value of about $250 on this one. But a business out there just may want to use it for some type of a small dinner party that they want to have.
Recognition banquet or something.
Recognition banquet would be a good one. Famous Supply in Lorain. If there's a person out there that is currently remodeling their house or building a new house, we have, as donated by Famous Supply, and it's worth $843, a complete bathroom. That complete bathroom is one of those molded tub and shower modules that are so popular today, along with the lavatory and the bowl. And they're nice. We have a nice brochure that we'll be showing on TV that night. We have some getaway weekends. Getaway weekends have become very popular among people, and we have some getaway weekends at Sawmill Creek. That one has a $200 value to it. Somebody can get a nice getaway weekend for much less than $200 if they pay attention to the bidding. We also have a getaway weekend at the Aquamarine out in Avon Lake.
It's the one that Larry just mentioned.
Yes, yes it is. We have a $200 shopping spree at the Meridian IGA Plaza. Now, this was a combined donation. Ephraim Torres, who manages the IGA at the Meridian Plaza in downtown Lorain, and our local Lorain Administrators Association went together and both funded this $200 shopping spree.
So and if you pay $199, you're still getting a bargain.
You certainly are. Exercise and physical fitness is big today. Everybody seems to be on an exercise kick, and we have a number of those kinds of things. For example, we have 10 2-week passes to Scandinavian Health Spa, and we estimate that value to be $450. We have a 6-month membership to Ship and Shape in Vermilion. We have 2 months of jazzercise classes by Jazzercise Incorporated. So there's a number of exercise kinds of things that are in there. There's a number of services that our schools have put together that are going to be auctioned off. For example, at Southview High School, our auto body shop, which is in the business of teaching students how to repair completely the bodies of automobiles. You know, they'll take the worst looking automobile that you have and they'll really redo it. Well, they're offering a complete auto wax with a rub out and a complete cleaning. Now that has a value of about $60 on it. Some of our art students have donated artwork. Some of our art teachers have donated artwork. Industrial arts class at Southview High School, the teacher, who is a very, very fine carpenter, has made 2 very, very nice looking jewel boxes that have been submitted to
So the items really are running the gamut, from big to artwork and dolls and all different kinds of things.
It really does run the gamut.
Let's just leave that for a moment, and I just do want to mention before we finish that we've had some celebrities involved.
Oh, yes.
Why don't you tell us a little bit? Some of them I realize are on videotape, and some of them will be emceeing or auctioning off items.
Okay.
Who do we have?
Okay. At the auction that night, first of all, live is going to be Dr. Peter Demian, our Executive Director of Curriculum Instruction, who will be what I call our major domo. He will be our Ed McMahon for the evening. But participating live are going to be a number of celebrities from the community. For example, Mayor Oleko is going to participate in the auction as a guest auctioneer, and he's going to be on for a period of time. Joan Lowry from our local WRKG radio, Peggy Vincent from Channel 43, Alice Weston from Channel 43, our own senator or state representative, Joe Kajura.
Now you also have the governor on tape. And some
The
other
governor is going to be on tape, Woody Hayes is going to be on tape, and Coach Earl Bruce is going to be on tape.
Great.
We also have a national celebrity on tape, Robin Leach.
Sounds super.
It does.
Bill, thank you so much for speaking with us tonight. I think the auction is going to be wonderful. And thank you for joining us. Remember, the auction is March 14th, this Friday, starting at 5 o'clock on Channel 36, and the auction number is 282-8100. Thank you and good night.